Hello everyone and welcome. It's time for the final episode of the first season, and yeah, it's now confirmed this is the first season because the second season is officially in the works now. But yeah, the final episode of this first season. Let's get in there once again. Though this is the version of the review without any spoilers from the North American or the Japanese version of the game. So let's head over and see what the anime did in this episode. So we start out this episode with Iroha refusing to join the Wings of Magia, as then her girlfriend comes in and sort of bats her axe away and says, "This is now my new girlfriend." And so she picks up Iroha, and they want to look all around the memory museum to find where Tsuruno, Felicia, and Sana have gone, as Yachio just casually drops, "I'm just gonna disband the team, okay?" After the opening, then, Iroha argues a bit more with Yachio, who then says that her wish that she made was to survive, and because she's a survivor, that somehow kills people around her in order for her to survive. So she kind of gives herself the guilt over all of these deaths that she has been around for. And then an Uwasa appears and takes Yachio away. It's actually the Uwasa that we saw in the silhouette in the episode before. And we then get a little bit of a more of a look into the backstory of Yachio. We see her days as a model and her modeling group that she was with, her friends, who I guess didn't make it as a model. I mean, they kind of disappear. I don't think they died. They just probably moved on to some other job and decided, oh, maybe I'm going to become a stripper or something. So instead, Iroha then decides, I've been fighting for all of these 12 episodes, 13 episodes now, and I've not actually been able to be of any use whatsoever because I just fire a million shots and they all do 0 damage. But what if, instead of firing a million shots that do 0 damage, I fired one shot that does more than 0 damage? Turns out, it's actually pretty effective. So Iroha has stopped excelling, has stopped charging, and Iroha has started blasting. And yeah, the blasts are super effective because it turns out that you can actually deal damage now. And in order to destroy the Uwasa, she does this dramatic shot into the face of the Uwasa, and Yachio comes out of the Uwasa again, and they are fine again. Where it turns out that Iroha wants to now prove to Yachio that it isn't her wish that is killing people. So then they have to run away and leave the museum because the museum is crumbling now, and let's just hope that the other three are fine. And now they attempt to leave from the crumbling ruins. This is the point in this review where I have to tell you guys, when I originally watched this episode, I watched it live on a live stream, and everything, especially from this point onwards, was laughably terrible. And I thought to myself, what's going on, guys? Is the current real-life thing that is happening, I can't actually say it or I get demonetized. I'm not actually monetized, but maybe if I get monetized in the future, I would instantly get demonetized then. So maybe because of what's going on, so many animators are missing that they can't actually animate this. And then later I found out there's two versions of this episode. There's two versions of this episode. There's I think it's called the Abema version and the TV version. The TV is finished. It's actually an episode that looks normal, but the Abema one is, well, I'm going to put a link to a Twitter in the description where you can find a comparison between the two different versions, because as it turns out, in the unfinished version, they, for example, have a shot where you see what's going to happen now is Mummy's going to rev up some guns, has a bunch of guns, and then shoot a million guns, and then the other characters are supposed to dodge them or dodge these bullets or deflect these bullets. But what actually happens in the unfinished version is she revs up guns, shoots, then shoots again, then shoots again. It actually repeats the same 2-second loop for 10 seconds. It keeps looping over the same 2 seconds of animation. And you think to yourself, has the record skipped? Has the needle skipped on the record? What's going on? Is this a bug? Is this a glitch? Has the stream somehow gone wrong? I mean, the audio kept going, and the audio kept going as usual, but it was the same 2-second animation loop. And then it cut to black for another 5 seconds, and then it actually continued as normal for another few seconds. Then there was a shot of Sayaka. Yeah, by the way, Sayaka is in this. Then there was a shot of Sayaka standing there, looking around, and then there was the same shot of Sayaka standing there, looking around, and then there was the same shot of Sayaka standing there, looking around again. They repeated it like 3 times. It's actually just ridiculous how they apparently in the unfinished version have animated like 1/5 of the amount of scenes they were supposed to happen, and then stretched those 1/5 of scenes that they had to span the entire fight that's coming up. So they either repeatedly repeat the same scene over and over and over and over and over again just to somehow stretch out the time, or they cut to black, or they have a freeze frame for like 10 seconds. You have to see that version of this fight. This is the funniest shit. The one link in the Twitter is only like part of the fight, but it already shows you the ridiculous amount of stupid stuff that was in the unfinished version. I think looking back at it, this is actually pretty fucking funny. Anyway, so what happens at this point is, as Yachio carries Iroha out, because Iroha has suddenly, the amount of gayness that Iroha has shown to Yachio is suddenly overpowering her so much that she just sort of shuts down and she has to be carried out. And then Mami appears and tells them, I'm going to kill you now, and starts to fight them a little bit. It looks really dumb how she just instantly jumps into melee range and then does sword fighting with her gun. Why? I guess you could kind of say, oh, she's not actually trying to kill them, she's just trying to get them to like back off and run away and like abandon her friends or whatever. But I mean, they were already on their way to leave. So what are you doing, Mummy? Are you trying to kill them or are you not trying to kill them? I can't really put my finger on it. So then, as it seems like she is indeed trying to kill him, why didn't she just use guns, whatever? Why doesn't Yachio use multiple spears as she usually does? I don't know, just whatever, dude. Fights in this don't really make much sense, because, I mean, we also know that in pretty much all the time, all these characters could just connect and be like 5 times as powerful, and they only do it like a handful of times in the entire anime, even though it would make many fights a lot more easy. But you know what, let's don't worry about these fight ergonomics, right? Like that. Fights just happen, okay? Fights just happen. Let's not worry about that. So anyway, Mami looks like she's about to shoot Yachio in the face, because Yachio is not really trying her hardest here. We know that because right after these scenes, she tries way harder. So yeah, Sayaka appears, we're doing her signature move. You think that Sayaka, like every single character has like a Magia, like this ultimate attack, you know? What's Mami's ultimate attack? Yeah, it's Tiro Finale. What is Yachio's ultimate attack? It's when she summons like a billion spears to throw at her opponents, right? They all have like their ultimate attacks. What's Sayaka's ultimate attack? Fucking fire extinguisher? This is like the third time now in Madoka content that Sayaka interrupts a fight with a fire extinguisher. Maybe she actually wanted to be a firefighter all this time. Maybe some hidden dreams are coming out, but anyway, she does her signature move and sort of tries to confront Mami, who decides that she wasn't crazy enough, and she also decides that you're not gonna stop me once I go into maximum overdrive. So she becomes suddenly a really saintly, holy character, and has like guns sprouting out her back, because why not? And now in Maximum Overdrive, she starts shooting like crazy. And like I said, in the unfinished version, it like has the scene of her shooting like for 20 seconds on repeat. It was the funniest shit, dude. So as they fight, I can't really talk about the details a lot more, because what am I gonna say? And then she summons gun, and then she blocks shot, and then she summons sword, and then Sayaka's arm gets ripped apart. That's pretty cool, actually. But yeah, they just fight and fight and fight, and then it turns out that they can't really fight that well. They need some power up, and how do they power up? Both Iroha and Yachio, they both doppel. Wow. And Yachio in this scene has 2 arms, 2 legs, and then also has another leg somehow. Does Yachio have 5 legs in this, 5 like extremities in this scene? Something has gone wrong here. Anyway, it just looks weird. So with their doppels, they now fight, and they're able to push Mami back and be successful at winning the battle until the doppels kind of run out. So they're out of juice, I guess. So after they have now successfully pushed Mami back, we get cut back to Toka, who has been getting chauffeured back to base, where she's now having a great dictator speech about how great all the Puella Magi are, because Puella Magi are so great. Shouldn't we get some stuff back and not have to sacrifice ourselves? Wouldn't that be something? So they kind of all applaud that, like, yay, let's not die, wow. There's also, we see also that Team Kamore is there. We also see that Tsuruno, Felicia, and Sana are also there, who are also not looking too great. They don't really have a smile on their face. What's going on there? I thought you joined the Wings of Magus to make everything better. Why are you so sad? Anyway, once again, back at the fight though, we see that all of their fighting has sort of made everything crumble, and now everything is going to fall down and get destroyed, so they really need to make their escape at this point. However, what happens is Mummy falls into a hole and then attacks Iroha, and then Iroha also falls into a hole, so now Mummy and Iroha, they fell down a hole. And we just cut away at this point, we don't actually know what happens to them. They're probably just going to be fine next episode, who knows. So back at the speech though, we see that Reina kind of wants to leave because she doesn't really give a shit, and the Wings of Magus, they don't really let her. Oh, that's evil, guys. Guys, that's evil if you don't want to let her leave just because she doesn't agree with you. I thought the Wings of Magus were like the good guys. Why are they suddenly evil and doing evil stuff? That's a bit weird. It comes a bit out of nowhere, don't you guys think? That comes a bit out of nowhere. I mean, it has been hinted at, but still, the actual things that they've done actively aren't really that bad. I mean, if they actually save every time someone doppels, that's a life the Magi is saved. And like I said, the only thing that we've really seen them do is trap a bunch of people for a little bit, and that's basically it. The only thing they've actually done is trap a few people. That's the only bad thing they've done so far. And on the flip side, they have saved a ton of people's lives because, like I said, every single character that doppels would have died otherwise. So that's a lot of life saved just for a few people being trapped in some room for a few days without actually being conscious for it, so they fall asleep for like a few days. I don't know. I feel like the Magus were kind of on a good side, but suddenly out of nowhere, they're like doing a bunch of bad stuff and having dictator speeches and not letting people leave and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't. Are they suddenly the baddies? Ooh. Yeah, I know they have I know everyone who saw them from like episode 5 or whatever where they first were, they're like, oh, cultist robes, and they speak in creepy ways, and the protagonists are fighting, and therefore they must be evil, right? Because cultist robes and speaking in ominous ways and protagonists fighting them, that must mean they're evil, right? Yeah, but if you actually look just at what they've done, they've probably come out ahead as like being more on the good side than our protagonists. I don't really know. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But yeah, it's almost like the writer wants them to be evil, even though the writer has no idea how to actually write them as evil, apart from just randomly going, oh yeah, they're fucking evil now, who cares? Good job, writer. But I'm basically talking to the writer of the game here because this is all adapted from the game. Anyway, I'm gonna have the spoiler section at some other point, but for now, let's just continue. So after Mummy and Iroha fell down a hole, and no, they're not dead because... I mean, I'm not even talking about like game knowledge, I'm just in general. Characters don't die if they fall down holes. I don't really... If I think to myself, how often in fiction, like not even in anime in general, how often just in movies, in comics, in mangas, in video games, in any sort of media that you can imagine, how often characters fall down a hole, how many of those times do the characters actually die and are never seen again? Usually they just fall down and either they just go, no, they're probably dead, or they just come back like an episode later and we're like, oh no, I was holding on, guys, don't worry, I was holding on to the edge and then I climbed somewhere else, so they awaken in some other area because some person saved them or something, whatever. Characters don't die when they fall down holes, it just doesn't happen. So now, after all of this has happened, we see that, yeah, like I said, so Tsuruno, Felicia, and Sana are indeed part of the Wings of Magus, and we also see Anina, who struts around all happy and satisfied, even though she hasn't actually done that much yet, and she basically wants to summon Walpurgisnacht. And that's the end of the season. We see that the end card is Iroha and Yachio, and Season 2 has officially been announced. Yay! So yeah, I don't actually have too much to say about this without talking about spoilers, because I really want to talk about spoilers about this episode. So yeah, look forward to like a 5-hour special on just this episode about comparing it to the game. Not that the game was better, it was just, or different. There's just a lot of stuff to talk about. So yeah. that was that. If you want to see the spoiler review once it comes out, then hit that subscribe button, and once it's up, you'll see it in the description. Well, also, like I said, I will link that Twitter link to this this little part of the fight that looked really, really different in the unfinished version. So yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys in the spoiler review.